ahead on Arizona Cat's Eye.
The Teotihuacanos were truly technologically advanced, but the extent of their technological and social advancement may surprise you. Technically, the capital city of Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic has trash pickup, but in suburbs like Villamella, the trash just accumulates at the end of the street, like this, because the streets are wide enough to accommodate garbage trucks, which proves to be an especially noxious reality in May, the beginning of rainy season. With the new U.S. Fish and Wildlife policy in effect, humanitarian aid groups can now place water in the desert, or request permission to place water in the desert. The city of Tucson's plans for downtown gentrification are putting hotels like the Old Coronado increasingly at risk. The end of the holiday weekend heralds the removal of the speed cameras around Tucson. The removal will cause some slowing and delays. Neither rain, nor sleet, nor snow, nor heat. We'll tell you how these Tucson letter carriers deal with the sweltering Arizona sun. Boy, it's getting hot out there. Stay tuned to KG9 on your side and we'll tell you how to stay out of these. Since their car was set on fire just last week, the Gordons have taken extra security measures and trimmed the trees alongside their house. That's right, I'm crawling out of the belly of a huge salmon in the middle of Arizona. We'll tell you why at 6. From above average temps in Tucson to a veritable winter wonderland in a matter of hours here on Mount Lemmon, the snow is not showing any signs of letting up. From Windy Point here at Mount Lemmon, Coy Ramirez, KG9 on your side. From the Tucson Auto Mall, Coy Ramirez, Arizona Cat's Eye. Now this one may leave a sour taste in your mouth. Cars that took the brunt of Hurricane Sandy's fury are beginning to pop up in the West. I found some tips to avoid purchasing a lemon. These cars were bathed in seawater from Hurricane Sandy at the end of last year. About 40% of these autos from Sandy's sump are handled by insurance auto auctions, with auction yards far out west, away from the memory of the deluge. These auctions are open to the public and to dealers, but are closed to the media. The Arizona Department of Transportation has taken steps to prevent consumer purchase of these vehicles.
The ownership is going to be on the dealership to make sure that the vehicle that they're going to put out for sale and in fact has all working parts, does not have any residual damage from whatever storm damage to begin with. It's a buyer beware tips and there's steps for an individual to do before they buy a vehicle.
Examine the title documents for signs of forgery. Obtain proof that the person selling the car is listed on the title. And check the VIN number with an online database service like Carfax.com or VinCheck.com. There are some dealerships who attempt to make used car buyers aware of these dangers. CarMax says it has a policy of not selling vehicles with extensive damage. Those are still purchased, but rather sold to other dealers at auction.
Here in Arizona, for example, it's a non-disclosure state.
That means the person or dealership selling the vehicle doesn't have to tell you that it's been damaged. CarMax actually has safeguards for protecting unwitting customers from purchasing, well, lemons. This car, which looks fine, actually sustained substantial frame damage, was underwater, and the odometer was rolled back. Neither Cactus Auto, which claims to have the best used vehicles in town, dollar for dollar, nor Jim Click Automotive, one of the largest used car providers in Tucson, would comment on this lemonade possibly flooding the Tucson used car market. Coy Ramirez, Arizona Cat's Eye. Unmanned aircraft, or UAVs. The same drones that are conducting U.S. combat operations in Afghanistan and military surveillance from bases all over the world are now flying right here in Arizona's skies. Whether you're talking about drones from the new U.S. military base in Niger or unarmed vehicles doing surveillance on the border, there are many new laws pertaining to the use of these predators.
There's two sides for us to consider. On one hand, the United States Air Force and the FAA have designated that unmanned aircraft are the future.
The Arizona House sponsor Bill 2269, which prohibits law enforcement from using drones to gather evidence or other information, also is proposing that Arizona be considered as one of 6 test sites, as outlined in the National Defense Authorization Act.
A lot of money and investment and effort has been put into this, and it's already well underway. This is a tremendous opportunity for Arizona in terms of economic development, investment, and job creation.
On the ground,
In southern Arizona, citizens are not very clear about the use of drones.
I've seen them in the Star Wars movie, Luke Skywalker and all those guys. The only thing I really know is that they're taking pictures of things, maybe filming things.
But absolutely not to spy on its own people through their roofs and through their walls.
When it comes to the privacy of Americans here in the United States, I think it's not a thing that right now that we should be using, to spy on people. I think that's not a good thing for now.
Poindexter-Ramirez, Arizona Cat's Eye. Don't let the wildlife fool you. This is actually a wastewater treatment facility on Ina Road, an over $300 million enterprise. Everything is automated, from the giant screw pumps to the combing system that meticulously removes coarse and fine waste from your waste, with the ultimate goal being this.
As you can see, methods of processing wastewater are quite power intensive, and that's why the Board of Supervisors approved a $1.4 million contract to TEP to deal with this stuff.
And expanding our Ina Road wastewater reclamation facility from a 37.5 million gallon per day facility up to a 50 million gallon per day facility.
Tucson Wastewater is also using that county money to create a finer byproduct, powered by TEP's coal-fired plant, instead of available renewable resources.
What it is a power purchase agreement between Pima County and Tucson Electric Power. Previously, we had produced some of the power internally through methane gas.
Methane gas is a constant byproduct of wastewater treatment and can be burned for fuel to power the plant, which has some in Tucson wondering why there isn't more discussion about using this methane.
What it gets back to is that this was not so much about the contract with TEP as it was a discussion about what we're going to do with the methane gas that's produced at our wastewater.
Supervisor Elias wants more discussion about other, more sustainable options, rather than having less than a week to decide on granting the funds to TEP to power the plant.
As far as the potential energy in the methane goes, a longtime employee says this byproduct is just burned up to the atmosphere. From the Ina Road Wastewater Treatment Plant, Poindexter-Ramirez, Arizona Cat's Eye.
From Teotihuacan, Poindexter-Ramirez, reporter, photographer, and editor.